Ladies and gentlemen, I'm privileged to welcome to the Solari Report Zach Vorhies, who was a successful entrepreneur and was a software developer at Google until he discovered in 2017, I believe, the Google algorithms for censorship, became a whistleblower, and now is one of the leading advocates for free speech and has just been a critical part of raising money and bringing a new lawsuit for the purge of independent media. So, Zach Vorhies, welcome to the Solari Report, and thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so why don't you just give a brief description for those who don't know about your evolution from a successful software developer to somebody very, very concerned about censorship?
Yeah, I guess the story starts at Google right after Trump won the election. I've been a Google employee for 8.5 years, 5 years at the time that Trump won the election. And what I saw was a company that was dedicated to free speech invert and decided that they were going to start filtering everything that they considered was fake news. And this happened in a public discussion that was held by the company 1 week after Donald Trump was elected. There was some very disconcerting things that were being said by the CEO, the CFO, and the other C-level executives, including that they wanted to make this election of Donald Trump a blip in history. They want to reverse this populism, that they were personally offended at the election of Donald Trump. And what was kind of skipped, but was actually the most important, was a question related to what Google had done, which was the most effective thing during the election, to which the response from CEO Sundar Pichai stating that the most successful thing was the use of machine learning to filter fake news. And for me, I was like, wow, well, what exactly is fake news? I'm going to go figure it out. Now, Google is a company that was very, very open, unlike, let's say, the CIA or Apple, which is incredibly siloed. And so as a result, I could just go and see what the people over the fake news were thinking, because they were all very public with what we're doing inside the company. And so I went in and I looked at their fake news definition. What I found was that all the examples of quote unquote fake news seemed to center around Hillary Clinton running weapons through Benghazi to arm ISIS, FBI officers that were hot on our case dying. And the exact headlines that they were using turned out to be fake news, but they were so close to actual headlines that were legitimate that I started to wonder whether what they were trying to do is that they were trying to create AIs that were going to falsely and incorrectly censor news stories that were real, because it looked like ones that were deliberately constructed to look like they were real, but were being classified as fake. And so I realized that, well, if there's something that is classifying something as fake news, then there's got to be something that's filtering it out. And so I dug in and I found what that project was. And it wasn't Project Dragonfly, as was popular in the media. As far as I know, that's a fake project. There's no trace inside the company. This one I found was massive, and a massive undertaking with a lot of internal propaganda. And that project was called Machine Learning Fairness.
And could you figure out from the documentation when that project began?
It began in Stanford, and then it was ingested into the company.
Okay.
And the company, it was prior to 2016. I believe the project was started in 2012 in Stanford, and then it was sort of graduated into Google to be systematized. And this machine learning fairness is basically critical race theory, right? Like there's an oppressor and an oppressee. And so we need to make everything fair so that we can undo all the oppression. That's essentially what it is. And what they've done is that they take AI, which is, in this case, it's a subtype of AI called machine learning, which is a collection of neural nets. that are similar to brain cells in your
Right.
brain, but they
Right.
work under a similar fashion. And you just train them with massive amounts of data, and then they come to their own conclusions about how to classify things. And they can usually only classify like one thing, like, fake news on a news article, that's a classifier, or in video, or in text, or in audio, and so they create these classifiers off of a pile of data, and then you can give it novel data and it's able to classify that as well. And so this is what they meant by machine learning fairness. Classifiers that were specifically designed to be social justice intermediaries and rebias the entire internet. And they were quite open about them wanting to bias the entire internet.
Right.
I remember looking through these slides, and these slides were saying about how describing people as programmable units, and it was a 4-step process. And the first step was media was generated, and then it was like filtered, and then it was like aggregated and ranked, and then the last step was people like us were programmed, and then this would, then these programmed people would then restart the cycle because they would generate new content as a reflection of that social justice that they were indoctrinated with